Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let's get started. Are you ready? Hey, listen, today's conversation is going to be 7 key things you can do to make sure you're distraction-free. Uh-oh, wait a second. I always forget about that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That guy sounds sexy. So here we go. So we're going to talk about 7 things that you can do to become distraction-free in your home-based business. How would that be for you today? I'm also going to be talking about the things that are behind me, the 4 F's, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and freedom, right? So this idea of fight, flight, freeze, we've all heard about that. Most people haven't heard about the fawning and then the freedom, and 7 little tips about how you can become distraction-free when it's time to do your home-based business. So you ready to get started? All right, here we go. Number 1, the fighting that you do. Where do you fight in your business? What are you fighting in your business? Are you fighting rejection? That's called addiction to approval. Are you fighting procrastination? That's a form of perfectionism. Well, Sean, the farthest thing I am is from being perfect. No. I get it. The thing is that we disguise perfectionism wanting to do it right. I want to get it right. How many have dropped an R in the chat if you want to get your business right? So all too often, we fight procrastination, we fight perfectionism, and we do nothing. Listen, here's the reality. You want to know the new reality? The new reality is done is the new perfect. Done is the new perfect. And here's what happens. Could you imagine arguing with your GPS? Could you imagine arguing with your GPS and your car's not moving? So here's the reality. You have to be in motion. Emotion creates motion. And sometimes we have an emotion of madness, of frustration, of anxiety that causes us to be stuck. Do you know how much power you waste becoming strong enough to resist your greatness? Come on, listen. You said you wanted to be great. You said you wanted to have joy. You said you wanted to have peace. You said you wanted to have freedom. This is your comfort zone, not being free, not being rich, not being happy, not being healthy. That's your comfort zone you're worried about getting out of? So fight. Then the second one is flight. What do you run away from? What are you running away from? You're running away from your dream zone? I'm confused. I get confused easily. I'm a guy. I get confused easily. But you're running away from your comfort zone? You're running away from your dream zone where you want to have the house and the car and the bank accounts filled with cash, and you want to have the debt reduced. You want to have OPM, other people's money working for you. Your trader's account is bringing in 2% a day. You're running away from that? I'm confused. So what happens if you no longer flight? See, the key is, here's the key. Here's how you deal with fight, and here's how you deal with flight. Funny, the answer is going to be the same to all of them. You have to understand your brain. You have to understand deep work. See, when you have deep work, when you are totally committed, I'll give you an idea of where you're totally committed. I've got somebody that you love at the top of the tallest tower you could think of, the tallest building you could think of, the highest mountain you could think of. I have somebody you love. And if you don't accomplish the goals you set for yourself today, I throw them off the top of the mountain. Better yet, let me give you a goal. You got to go enroll 10 people in your business today. Biggest package. There's not even a question that you could do it if that was the threat, if that was the real threat. See, the threat that we're allowing to distract us, to have us fear, to have us fight, to have us fawn, to have us freeze, is a made-up distraction of social media and of social acceptance and of social being. And I'm not enough. You are freaking enough. If I got it, I'll be blue in the face. I'm going to hold my breath till you realize you're enough. It doesn't do you any good if I hold my breath on how amazing I believe you are. It's the amygdala. It's the hippocampus. It's the hypothalamus. It's all of these things in your brain that maybe you're not feeding correctly. You're feeding it. You're letting stress run you, guide you, push you. If your phone rings, can I let you in on a little secret? Not long ago, I should say not long enough ago, was about $1 million in debt. Not a lot. That's not a lot. There's people who are a lot more bigger numbers in debt than $1 million, but $1 million, 7 figures. Had bought a whole bunch of equipment for my bride's company. We had bought it, put it on our account, if you will. The economy changed in 2008 and things went sideways. And there were a company that was the KPI, the key performing indicator of what was going to happen about a year from now. So they were the leading edge of what, if they started to have problems, you knew some big problems were coming. So they were the ones before the problems hit. So all of that to say, $1 million in debt. If I stayed in the mindset of $1 million in debt, I'd still be in debt, right? Wouldn't you still be in debt? So when I'm talking about this fight or flight or freezing, listen, do you remember when the phone rings and you know it's a creditor? You know it's the credit card company, the bank company, the mortgage company, the car company, and and you're like, holy crap, oh, and your phone vibrates. You even turn it on to vibrate, but you can feel that energy and you just want to fight, or you want to fight or freeze, or you want to run your ass off away. You just want to throw your phone. Drop a T in the chat if you've ever been so afraid of who's on the phone you wanted to throw it. Drop a T in the chat. Can I let you in on a little secret? You made it through. I made it through. I'm sure you're better at it than I am. You would make it through. So where's this distraction come from? You have the same thing happen now. How many of you are worried about your auto ship? Do you have enough funds to pay for your auto ship? Drop an A in the chat if you know somebody who's quit your business because they were afraid of the fee of the auto ship. They don't have enough money. Drop an A in the chat if you know somebody in your business that they just couldn't feel comfortable with the auto ship. Yet the product is healthy, the product serves well, it produces income, it creates wealth, it creates health. They just couldn't afford the auto ship. Do you realize that you don't have a building of a $10,000 a month problem? You have the problem with them thinking they can't afford $100 or $200. You have a problem with them not wanting to create an income of $100 or $200 extra. Do you understand this? You sit and talk about the 7 figures incomes that are possible in your business, the 78 ways you can get paid, and you are fighting them and you are freezing them and you are making them flight away from you because they're afraid of the $200 for the auto ship. And what do? They do the 4th F. They do the fawning. If you haven't heard of that before, fawning is where you make them feel good. They sign up and they quit before the first auto ship runs. They pay the enrollment fee of $49 or $50, or maybe it's dollar enrollment, and they get started, but they quit before the first auto ship. They buy the product. Can I just buy the product? Do you ever anybody? Can I just buy the? They don't want to even commit to the auto ship. F-A-W-N, fawn, F-A-W-N, like a small deer, a baby fawn. And fawning is when I make you feel good. If I have an argument between two people, they're arguing and they're arguing, and I want to make them feel good. You know, I love you and she loves you, and you're the one. How many of you are the fawner, or the one that fawns over people to make sure there's no ill will between people? How many of you are completely dropping F? I'm asking you to become aware of this one, because so many of you, this is built into your submodalities. You're built into these submodalities, and you are exhausted, and you're the one that you try to make everybody feel good, and they don't even want to feel good, and everybody's fawning, right? You ever hear this expression? Everybody's fawning over everybody. Everybody's trying to make everybody feel good. Well, that's a bunch of bull S. It's a bunch of belief system. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. How many times have you known that fawning fawning, F-A-W-N-I-N-G, the action of falling in love with people and making sure everybody's happy in it. And then you go home exhausted going, oh my God, I don't ever want to go to that party again. Let me let you in on a little secret. Come here. Come here. Have you ever sponsored somebody and paid for their kit? Have you ever sponsored somebody and paid for their kit? That's fawning. Have you ever, listen, I'm not talking about inviting somebody to a concert and buying their ticket. I'm talking about where you said, listen, this would be so good for you. If you've ever said this would be so good for you, this would be so good for you. Oh, better yet, here's this. Let's switch the tables. Ready? This one's going to get you. This one's going to get you. This one might piss you off. I'm just warning you. Fair warning. Here's the fair warning bell. Ding, ding, ding. How many of you, listen carefully, how many of you want people to fawn over you? Oh, addiction to approval. You want people to fawn over you. You want people to make you feel good because you're doing something. You want people to make you, listen, this is a real dis-ease, a body not at ease. You're not going to find this in any medical journal. Fawning, the disease where you make people feel inferior by them making sure that you feel better. Some of you may have another term for it called gaslighting. Oh, snappies. Be aware of fawning. Be aware of people at work. Be aware of managers. Be aware of underlings. Be aware of coworkers who are these fawners that you've got to do everything for them. They can't remember how to open the email. Email? What is email? They can't remember how to open the email, also known as email. You follow me? So forget about fight, flight, freeze. Fawning is now the new F. And you are effed up. You are fawned up. You hear me? I'm trying to read some of these. This making sense? We're going to get to the fifth F and the 7 ways you can become more efficient in your home-based business and avoid these F's and distractions. How do we get through? How do we become better? Education. Information, education, right? Because there's lots of information out there. You have to decide what you want to get educated on. Information, education, application. Application. Too many people are aware of so much crap, but they do nothing with the information. I can become aware of the nails in the road. And if I don't take action to avoid the nails in the road, I'm going to get flat tires, aren't I? Somebody's going to ask me, didn't you see the truck in front of you with all of the nails? So my question is this: if we do something once, that's an incident. If we do something twice, that's a coincidence. If we do something 3 times, that's a habitual action, and you are now forming a pattern in your body. Ask yourself, what today has already caused you to be in the freeze mode? That's a habitual pattern. What today has already put you into the flight mode? You wanted to avoid it. You'll put it off. You'll do it later. You'll do this. Listen, Brian Tracy, what's Brian Tracy famous for? What's his book he's famous for? Somebody write it in the chat. What's the book Brian Tracy is famous for? Eat that frog. When should you eat the frog? First thing in the morning. So, have you eaten your frog yet? You know how many frogs, listen carefully, you know how many frogs you have lined up? It's probably very deafening in your home right now. What? You know how many frogs you have lined up to eat that you haven't eaten in the last month? Just the last month, frogs you haven't eaten. It has put you into the fight. It has put you into the flight. It has put you into the freeze mode at such a level, it's literally acting on your body. How many of you have stress in your body? Oh, this is going to hurt. I don't want it to hurt. I want to rip the Band-Aid off. Now you may have a Band-Aid over your entire body. And when I rip it off, I may pull some hair off your arms, the back of your neck, that hair that my mom used to pull. If you have stress in your body, you are in fight, freeze, or fawn mode. This is what's called neuroencoding. If 80% of doctor visits are stress related, it's because of the conversation you have going on in that brilliant brain of yours. It is the way you have been manipulated. You have been manifested. You have been cajoled and cornered and cowarded into the corner that you have no control over your own thoughts. 70,000, 80,000 thoughts a day. Of those 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day, 80% are repeated, are repeats, are rewinds from yesterday. And of all of those from yesterday, 60, 70% are negative thoughts. And you wonder why you're stressed out. You wonder why your cortisol is a little bit bigger than most. You wonder why you just can't get rid of that last 20 pounds of frustration and aggravation. You wonder why you can't sleep at night. You wonder why you're maybe a little constipated in the brain and down in the belly. You wonder why you wind up with your legs hurt and you're not sure why your fingers, you can't get any circulation in your fingers and your hands are cold. This is called stress. These are called the first stages of trauma. And it's because of the words you have going on in your brain. You're fighting, you're flighting, you're freezing, or you're fawning. The fifth one is called freedom. It's a freaking math battle. It's a freaking math battle. 4 against 1. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn against 1. 4 against 1. Now you got to ask yourself, are you the Goliath or are you the David? See, Goliath takes strength. Be strong, be strong. You better be strong, be strong. Don't be strong. You have strength, be strong. Everybody telling you to be strong, screw them. I want power, baby. I want to be David. I want a one shot and done. You want to know what David has in his sling? Gratitude. Gratitude fixes the fight. What if you were grateful for the fight? Would there ever be a fight again? What if you were grateful for the freezing? Wouldn't you be grateful for the fact that you know that you have control over your body, that you can stop it and you can also start it? What about the fleeing? Wouldn't it be good to know that you have the ability to leave something, but you also have the ability to stay and take control of it? Paulo Coelho in his book, Manuscript Found in a Cross, says this: the scars, listen carefully, you're going to want to write this down. This is that good. The scars you carry are stronger than the sword that made them. Some of you are afraid of your own scars. Don't be. That's who you are. We all got scars. The challenge is too many people are speaking from the wound and not the scar. My goal is to get you to speak from the scar, to be proud of the shit you've been through. Nobody needs to know about it, but you need to understand that you've been through it. It's made you tough. It's got you here. It's got you the ability to fight. It's got you the ability to fight forward, to no longer freeze. It's got you the ability to stand in fear and do it anyways. It has you the ability to say, listen, pull your own pants up, pull your own boots up, pull your own socks up. I'm not going to make sure you're happy just because I need you in my world. You need to decide your own happiness. You're no longer going to be the vampire of my joy. And you know what? They may move on because they need to be the vampire of somebody's joy. And when you decide today's the day, I've had enough, you have to be prepared for your identity to change. It's time for you to take control of you, your thoughts. What are you feeding? What are you thinking? Somebody who thinks they're sick, getting a cold, what are the chances are they wind up with a cold? I think I'm coming down with a cold. I'll be damned if 2 days later they don't have a cold. Then you could put them in an isolated room and their body would go, I guess it's time. It's click on the cold stuff. Everybody click on all of the cold stuff. Ass, click on the cold stuff. Head, click on the cold stuff. Ears start to plug and do crazy stuff and ring bells. And if you tell yourself, what if you want to worry about something, worry about being too rich, worry about being too skinny. You want freedom? Stand up right now and say, I'm free. Aren't you free right now? Aren't you free right now? You're free right now. If I ask you, are you free right now? You'd say, hell yes, I'm free right now, till you stop and slow down and you start your thinking again. Thinking, 1% of the population think, 2% think, they think the other 97% would rather die than think. You are not thinking if you're letting habitual actions run through your brain. What changes? What changes when you're free? Oh my God, I don't have all of this stuff to bitch about. I guess I got to get some work done. I guess I have to go serve some people. All right, let me give you 7 things to. I learned this today. Let me put my glasses on because I got to read this over here. 1, set specific times. Do you have a calendar? You've heard this at, I don't know how many Super Saturdays you've heard this at. But have you set hours for your business? Listen, you're always in business. This isn't a part-time business, your network marketing business. It's a full-time business. You just do it sometimes. So set specific times for checking email. I promise you, some of you, if you set specific times for checking email, if you took the notifications off your phone of email, you'd be shocked at how like addictive you would be. I wonder if I got an email. I wonder if I got an email. Nobody's emailed me. And half the emails you get, you don't want anyways. Number 2, here's some distraction tools. I hadn't heard of these. Listen to these. Use tools for blocking or distracting websites. If you find yourself consider Freedom or Cold Turkey. If anybody knows of another site blocking or shutdown, computer shutting down for a specific time tool, type it in the chats. Type it in on Instagram. This one is called tools like Freedom or Cold Turkey. Block certain sites during the day. Right? Freedom or Cold Turkey. Those were cool. That's something I learned today. This is just a Google search, right? Turn notification off on your phone. Create a designated workspace. Some of you have a home office. Listen, if you're trying to do the deduction of home office, that's you got to have a certain, that's a lot of work. Just have a certain place where you do your work. I have a couple of places where I do my deep thinking. I got a picnic table out by the pond, and I've got my office here. But I've got a couple of rocks over on that side, and my amphitheater, if you will. So somebody typing some other stuff in there. Yep, I always set do not disturb. There you go, Paul. So number 6, schedule your most important tasks. Eat your frog, do them early, and take breaks regularly. This is the one. There's a book called Playing Full Out. I forget who the author is. You need to take breaks. And when I mean take breaks, I don't say, oh my God, I opened one email, I should go get a massage. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is after about 90 minutes is a long time. Typically what they say is about in public speaking, 20 minutes is about as long as your butt can handle sitting down. That's why sometimes speakers will have you get up, shake yourself out, move around. Literally take a break. And when you walk away, here's the thing that most people don't do. Find a way to spend 5 minutes totally disengaged from work. A lot of times people at work, they say, you want to go for a walk? And they just walk around the parking lot. That's great. That's awesome. But they're still talking about work. You have to give yourself an exchange of energy of the neural connections in your brain. You have to activate new neural connections. It's kind of like when you're walking up a hill and you stop and you sit down and you're like, whoo, and you take a 2-minute break, but all of a sudden when you get back up, your legs seem stronger. Yeah, they're burning a little bit, but they seem stronger. You know what I'm talking about? The same thing happens with your neural connection. See, you're firing electrical signals in your brain. If you're a little dehydrated, it takes a lot of energy. If you're a little dehydrated, a 5% reduction in hydration is a 2% loss in short-term memory. The reason is because the connections can't quite make it through. There's not enough liquid. So a couple of things: hydrate better. And when you do take a 5-minute break, do something different. I don't care if it's just twiddling your thumbs, focusing on something different. Do your best to evacuate yourself from your workspace. And when you come back, you'll be amazed at some new ideas that you have as well. So tag somebody in this video. Say this. Sean's got some good ones. This might have been a good one. This might be a good one to serve you. Tag some people in this video. Share it. I love you tons. I appreciate you so very much. I'm excited about what's happening with dangerous consciousness. That's going to absolutely be a game changer. I promise you. Imagine if all of the things we talked about today, imagine if you had 90% control over all of that with a simple click of your finger. Literally a physical click of your finger. That could be a trigger, or a clap of your hands, or a roll of your shoulders, or a clearing of your throat. Imagine if all of a sudden you no longer had to fight. Imagine if you no longer had to freeze. Imagine if you no longer had to flee. And imagine if you no longer had to fawn, and you had more business and more people and more joy in your life without having to deal with those. They're great safety mechanisms, but what if they no longer became the pattern? That's what dangerous consciousness does. All right, I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling misfit. I will see you all there at the next event. I love you tons. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you. Have an amazing day. Invite somebody to tomorrow's conversation, and we'll inspire them together. Thank you so much. Till then, bye for now. And YouTube, love you tons. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. I will see you where? I will see you at the next event.